I've been in Thailand for over a week now, and I really like it here. I don't want to leave, but at the same time, I miss my friends and family. I wish I could just bring them here. I don't want to go back, and I don't want to go back to school. um, I don't know. It's nice because this has just been one big adventure. It's definitely broken up the monotony of life that I don't like. I wish I had more adventure in my life. It's something my friend Elliot and I talk about a lot, actually, because he's a very adventurous spirit. He's probably one of my best friends at school. So today we spent over 6 hours in a car. So honestly, we didn't do a lot today, but what we did do was pretty great. We started the day by going to the cave temples. Let me look at our itinerary and see what they were called. Since we went river rafting yesterday, the heat just drained all of us, and Dr. Wilhelm, who had set up most of the activities for our trip, decided not to go with us, and Dr. Chandra came instead. So we went to Wat Tham Tap Tao. Wat Tham Tap Tao. That's the famous Buddhist cave temples. And it was actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be, because I was thinking like caves in Indiana, like I mean, actually, now that I think about it, it probably was about the same size as Squire Caverns. But it was really different. I mean, instead of like the clear stalagmites and stalactites that are really like jagged rocky features, all of the rocks kind of looked like they were melting. They looked like they were melted. There were a few like clear hanging pieces, but nothing really looked distinctively sharp. It all looked kind of like melted wax figures. It was kind of creepy. There were lots of images of Buddha down there that were pretty interesting, and I wonder how old this cave temple is. And they had two different caves. One was dark cave and the other was light cave. Self-explanatory. One had no natural light coming through except for at the entrance. The other had like a big hole in the top that let natural light through, and I think that one was the most beautiful because they had huge statues of Buddha erected and a huge, very beautiful bright altar, and next to the altar was a huge image of Buddha sleeping, and around him were little monks that were praying, little Buddhist monks statues, and the Buddhist monk statues were about actual person size, and they were all gold, while the sleeping Buddha, which was a full body sleeping Buddha laying on his side, was huge, like Jack and the Beanstalk compared to the giant huge. And it was just really beautiful. So I went down and I had little candles that I made for the trip, and I had some specifically that I made just to burn at Buddhist temples. So I went and I burned a little candle at the altar. You know, I'm not Buddhist, but I thought it was a nice sentiment. So after the cave temples, we went to Phang area, to the Royal Agricultural Station, Angkon, I think is what it's called. Yeah. It was really gorgeous. Sadly, the cave temples and the agricultural station, which are the royal gardens, were at least an hour apart from each other. So we didn't have a lot of time. We had lunch there at the royal gardens, and oh my goodness, it was so inexpensive and so delicious. I got 3 different dishes. I got this fried chicken with cream lime sauce, which was, oh my gosh, it was so good. I could eat that all day. It was probably my favorite. I got fried pork with fermented bean paste that also had like stir-fried onion or not stir-fried, but sauteed onion and tomatoes in it. And the fried pork was actually more like pork rinds, which I usually don't like pork rinds, but I liked these. And only 2 out of the 6 of us at the table liked the fermented bean paste stuff. But I've made a lot of things with like the Korean fermented bean paste, so I already knew that I would like it. And then what was the third dish I got? Oh, I got tempura battered shiitake mushrooms. And they had this sauce that I forgot to ask if I could buy that tasted just like the sauce that they had at Exotic Thai Cuisine in Terre Haute before it closed down, that they would serve with the fried pork, or like sun-dried pork jerky, which they have had here a few times, and that's been really wonderful because I miss that stuff. It's so good. But so I got those 3 dishes, and first of all, after Dr. Chandra saw the prices, she paid for it, but that whole meal would have been like $6. So it was pretty amazing how inexpensive the prices were and how high quality the food was. And unlike most of the food we've seen here in Thailand, it was very portioned. So each dish was like a 1 portion size meal. And it was also dressed nice. The food looked very pretty. For example, the cream, the lime cream chicken stuff, which was like battered and fried. It wasn't battered. It had like crushed, almost kind of like crushed cereal on it, but it wasn't. It was salty, not sweet. And that was on a bed of, I think, fried kale. I think it was thinly sliced fried kale. I'm sorry, there's a mosquito, and I've been bit like 400 times today. It's in my room. I don't know where it went. Anywho, the food was so good, and I went back to try to get dessert, but they were very frazzled. They didn't speak very good English, and so they mixed up like what tables the food went to, and it was just kind of a mess. And so I went back at the end to order dessert, and I ordered a very simple red bean, and it was like a red bean and coconut thing, and they didn't have it done by the time we had to leave, and people were yelling at me, so I had to go. But the gardens themselves were quite beautiful. Sadly, I didn't get to explore as much of the gardens as I wish I could have. But nonetheless, what I did see, which was just the main gardens, was quite beautiful. They had just what I saw. They had hundreds of different flowers, and just walking through there and all of the arcs with all of the colors, I thought, man, this would be an amazing place to get married. Although I'm sure most of my family would be really mad if I had my wedding in Thailand, because there's no way I'd be able to fly them out here. I mean, the round trip tickets cost $2,500, and this isn't even tourist season right now. So, yeah. But the really cool thing about the gardens is that the weather in Thailand is pretty consistent all year round. The only difference is rainy season. It rains a lot, so some of the flowers get drowned. But it looks like that all year long. And I mean, those gardens put any botanical garden I've ever been to in America to shame. It was so beautiful. The funniest thing, they also had really cheap strawberries. You could buy a huge bag of all natural strawberries. You could tell because they were really little, but they were perfect. They tasted so good. Not genetically modified like all the ones we have in the States that are huge but rarely as sweet as they should be. And It was like 10 or 20 baht a pack, which is like 30 or 60, 70-ish cents for a bag of strawberries. I ate a whole bag on the way back. I was disappointed that I didn't get my dessert. Anywho, the funniest thing that happened when I was there was a family, a Thai family, that saw me, and I guess I'm weirded out by the fact that, like, really, first of all, really pale skin in most Asian cultures is revered as being very beautiful. And my skin tone, as you can see, is sour cream. No, not paper, sour cream. So people are always really awed by that, and they think my complexion is really beautiful, even though, as you can tell, I've also been breaking out really bad while I've been over here. But so I don't know if I looked like a famous person or if they'd just never seen someone who was tall, blonde hair, blue eyed, and pale skinned. But this middle-aged, not too old, they were probably in their 40s, maybe 50s. Stopped me, and they didn't speak very much English. All they said was, "You're very beautiful." They asked me where I was from, and "thank you" was really all they said to me. And they had me for 10 minutes taking pictures with them like I was famous, and I was just smiling like a big idiot, and I was like, "What's going on right now?" And I had them take pictures with my tablet, and so it was this middle-aged couple, and then their two daughters, or maybe they were their friends, walked over, and they were like, "Oh, oh, oh," and I'm like, "What's going on?" And they had me take pictures with them too. And like I said, the whole thing took like 10 minutes, and I was laughing and I was having a grand old time. But they were like taking pictures with me, and the two younger girls, they were both older than me. One was probably closer to my parents' age, like early 30s, and then the other was probably in her late 20s. And they both came on each side of me and like put their arms around me, and I was like, but I was laughing. I was having fun. I thought it was pretty funny. I also, as I was walking away when they finally let me go, I just had this big goofy smile on my face, and all I could think was, what the heck just happened? It was just so strange. I mean, the only thing I could liken it to that happening in my life is little kids at Gen Con who are excited when they see me. Like if they see Princess Zelda and they've played the game a lot, they're like, "Oh," and they get all excited and they run up. And I've had a couple little kids like run up and hug me, and that was the only thing I've ever experienced anything like that. But no, it was these older Thai people who had apparently never seen a blonde person in their life. I don't know. It was really funny. So after that, I got really mad because I thought we were gonna have time to stop at the souvenir shop, because we had stopped there because one of the boys had demanded the bathroom, and he ended up not being able to find it anyways. And we stopped at the little souvenir shop, which had lots of wines and coffees and teas, of which I bought both. And we were kind of in a hurry, and I thought that we were going to get to go back there. And when we were leaving, Dr. Shumber was like, "Oh no, we can't. We don't have time." And the driver ended up stopping anyways, and I was really, really upset when she said that we couldn't, because she said before that we would. And I would have just walked all the way down there if we hadn't, because it was a good quarter mile at least away from the actual gardens. Anyways, so we got to go souvenir shopping. A lot of sleep was had on the way up. Not as much sleep was had on the way down. I picked the wrong van because none of the seats were adjustable. In the other van, all the seats would lean back, so I could not sleep very well. I was like half asleep for the whole time because we left around 8 in the morning. So then we took like 3 hours to come back. After that, we pretty much just hung out here. The Wi-Fi isn't working at the hostel right now. That kind of sucks. So I spent a lot of time at McDonald's working on homework. I finally checked my school email and I answered those emails, and that took quite a bit of time. I did a little bit of homework, chatted with some of the people. Oh, the worst part of my day. So the other night I was having issues with my credit card with the ATM, so I put it in a lot of ATMs, and I called PayPal after that and was talking to them about what happened. Well, tonight I got an email that said that my card has been deactivated, which I'm really worried because I don't know if I don't think it can be reactivated, and I have no other way to get money while I'm here in Thailand. So it's not that I don't have the money, I just can't get it out unless my card's reactivated. And the kind of card I have isn't one that you can easily reactivate. And because of PayPal's hours, that this isn't something that I can really do just going through the motions on the phone. I have to be able to talk to someone from PayPal, so I'm not sure what time I'm going to be able to do that. Luckily, people seem to like me, I guess, and June also offered because she's coming tomorrow. um, but people offered to let me borrow money, even though I might not be able to pay them back until I get into the States. And June does have a PayPal. She just probably doesn't have enough money for what I need to get. The last things I need to get, jade statues, some artwork for Chris and I, and also my family, which that's the expensive part. I was hoping to spend probably around 2,000 baht, which is, $30, so really not that much. But here in Thailand, that's a lot, considering people only make the minimum wage is 300 baht a day. So, it's still quite a bit more than I'm sure June has. And then paper products. I wanted to buy tons of paper products, some handmade notebooks, and I also wanted to get myself a handmade paper photo album, to make like a little photo album of the trip. But I don't know if I'll be able to buy any of that because I have 0 baht. Actually, I have about 15 baht in coins, which won't buy me anything. I guess technically I have some dollars, or not some dollars, but technically I do have some baht, but it's like the really crisp dollars I've been saving to give to people who requested money. So I really don't want to spend that, and it's still not enough to get me where I need to go tomorrow, so I'll probably just borrow money from people. And I'm really upset. But what's weird is my card, I went and got some food at McDonald's and my card ran there. I mean, it was processed as credit, but it worked. Then when I went to the ATM, it wouldn't work, and I got the deactivation email technically before I ordered McDonald's, so I don't know what happened. But I'm going to have to call PayPal, and that's just not fun. I was trying to get a hold of them tonight, but it just wasn't working out. So that's something fun that I get to deal with in the morning. Hopefully I can get that figured out. That way I'm not having to pay people back when I get back to the States. So that's really bothersome. Luckily, I'm only here for 3 more days, so if I do have to borrow money from someone, it's not that big of a deal. And I also do know how much I have left in the bank, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just stressful and not something I thought that I'd have to deal with, especially since I was keeping in touch with PayPal and I did tell them what was going on. Because really I didn't know what was going on when my card wasn't working the other night. No, I guess it wasn't last night, it was the night before last. But then I called them and I had apparently hit my ATM limit for the day. The ATM limit in America is much more than the ATM limit here. So that's why I was denying my card, but they still deactivated it. Which, I mean, I was planning on deactivating it when I got to the States anyways, and getting a new one just to be safe, because PayPal's really good about sending new ones. But I'm still pretty ticked that even though the communication was open, that happened. So hopefully it'll all be fixed, and hopefully I can still use my card, because if they tell me, oh, we can't reactivate it, I don't even want to think about it. But that was the stressful stuff that happened today. other than that, that was pretty much my day. It wasn't too exciting, but it was a good day. It was a really tiring day though, so I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night.